field.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of You Have Failed with me, SaiyanVader, where, before we get started this week, I have a few announcements to make. The first one is that as of recording this, You Have Failed has officially hit 2,000 lifetime listens. Now this is an amazing accomplishment. Genuinely, if you would have told me, way back when this show started, that I'd get 10 listens, frankly, I would have laughed in your face. And still now, hearing that I've got 2,000, I don't quite believe it. And that's a massive thank you to you, the listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether it's week in, week out, or just for a random topic every now and again that you find interesting or want to hear about. Thank you so much for making all of this possible. It really does fill me with a lot of joy and satisfaction, and I can't think of the right word. Sorry, I'm not very good at expressing myself when it's not in a rant or talking about a fictitious character. When it's actual feelings that I feel just personally on a normal level, I really struggle. So genuinely, it means the world to me. Thank you so much. Secondly, and this really coincides quite nicely actually with the 2,000 lifetime listens, as of recording this, it's currently Monday the 8th. I'm right. Monday the 8th of February. This obviously episode goes out on Tuesday the 9th of February, but on Wednesday the 10th of February it is actually the 1 year anniversary, the birthday if you will, of You Have Failed as a show. That is when our first episode, The Legacy of Arrow, aired a year ago. That really shit episode, please don't listen to it, it's awful, both audio quality and just everything I said. I agree with my points, but Jesus Christ, it just don't go there. But no, honestly, in a year this show has grown so much. As I said, 2,000 lifetime listens is incredible in a year, and this next year is going to be bigger, better, and the only way is up. So thank you so much. And the third announcement, it's not as grand I suppose, but maybe a bit more Titanic, not as in the boat, that's move along. Anyway, up until can't think of a date, sometime in March, April, no, May, right? Basically, this show will from now on until partway through May be completely dedicated to Attack on Titan, because obviously we're in the final season. Attack on Titan seems to be quite popular with the listeners at the moment, so I'm going to listen to feedback and looking at what the numbers are showing and continue with a bit of a trend of Attack on Titan, because that is when the current 16 announced episodes of Attack on Titan will be finishing. I highly doubt that that will be the end of the series, because looking at it, we got episode 9 today, which only gives us 7 more episodes left. I don't think they'll be able to get to the ending in that amount of time, so they'll probably announce more. But up until that point, maybe a bit afterwards, just to process everything that's happened thus far in the final season, I will be focusing solely on Attack on Titan, which I'm sure none of you will complain about, and neither will I. This is without a doubt the best show and journey I've ever been on. So yeah, that's going to be the main focus. Obviously, when the manga finishes, which will be in April, I might do a special episode based on that, a spoiler review of the manga. Although I don't really plan on looking up the ending too much. I just need to know if Eren and Levi survive, so I can know whether, how much emotional processing and therapy I'm going to need to go through just to accept what's going on. And then when obviously the show does resume, if it does and these 16 aren't the end like I think they are, I will once again cover Attack on Titan right up until the finale from there on, giving it the proper attention it deserves. Because it's an incredible show and it really does deserve everything it deserves. So the show is dedicated to that from here on out until the end of the 16 episodes. If that is the finale, that'll probably be it from until I revisit it maybe in a few years time or a year's time, or just temporarily until we get a second half of season 4 for me to talk about. But now, before we get on with the episode proper, which as you know by this point is definitely about Attack on Titan, I would do the normal thing saying that Black Lives Matter is still a very important cause to us here at Sigil Arts. We still believe in the cause, fighting for the cause. So please do show your support by going to websites such as www.blacklivesmatter.com or using the hashtags Black Lives Matter or hashtag BLM on social media to keep the conversation going. With that out of the way, Attack on Titan. Now, sort of the format's going to be a bit different to normal now because I'm doing it a weekly thing. I'm going to be basically talking about the episode that came out the day or a few days before I record. In this case, I'm going to be talking about the last 2 weeks' episodes. Obviously, last week I didn't have an Attack on Titan episode. I had an episode with the lovely Martina. If you haven't listened to that yet, please do go check that out. Me and Martina had a lot of fun recording that. She did, and I think we had so much fun that we want to do another one at some point. We just don't have a topic to talk about, not as of yet. Not that we have nothing to talk about. You know, we chat fairly regularly. Not that, to be fair, we stayed on topic that time anyway, but that's not the point. So yeah, this week I'll be talking about episode 8 and 9, and then at the end maybe a bit about the one, the only Eren Jaeger. So yeah, episode 8 was fuck Gabby, right? I know a lot of people are like, oh, you can't hate her, she's just a kid, you know, she's just right, I get it, okay. They're like, oh, we're in the same situation. I'm like, okay, one, we've had 4 seasons to get to know the Paradis characters and sympathise with them, so why would I feel as bad for a character I just met who is part of the people that tormented the people on Paradis for years, right? Also, Falco literally said to Gabby, look, like, we did the same to them. We can't really, like, this is just a cycle of violence. We can't do this. And yeah, no, she still, spoilers, shot Sasha, right? And I'm not, look, when a show gets it, that when one of the characters dies, that you can't look at fucking potatoes the same way again without getting emotional. It says a lot about the writing of the show, but yeah, no, fuck Gabby, killing, I'm like, why, right? It's not good. No one wants Sasha to die. Everyone loves Sasha. Sasha is amazing, and that really killed me. Just seeing that bullet go through her chest, because Gabby is an emotional little bitch, and oh yes, so Eren. No, Eren is cool, right? And Eren has a point, right? Gabby knew how the world worked, and she still acted like this. Eren was trapped within walls, didn't really have a clue what was really going on, and his whole life had been suppressed. Alright, same with Gabby in the slums of Mali. I don't care, right? And maybe I'm in the wrong here. Maybe I should sympathise more with Gabby, but she just killed Sasha. I don't care. Eren and the co have not killed any characters who they killed Udo, and this is I don't even fucking know the 2 kids' names. Falco and Gabby are the only ones I fucking remembered, right? Which is clear that they were the ones that were meant to be important, right? So I don't care. Like, the people in Mali killed important people. Marco, Irvin, right? So many other scouts. Thomas, like, he wasn't a scout, he was just a member of the training corps at the time he died, but that's not the point, right? Hannes, right? Doesn't balance out here, right? Gabby can go fuck herself because, oh my god, Sasha. I mean, that's really the only analysis I have of that episode. Oh, and the fact that, I mean, I'll get more into this in a bit, but the way Zeke shits himself whenever Levi opens his mouth is brilliant, honestly. And Eren, oh my god, the parallels between sort of Irvin and Armin, but then in a weird way, Eren and Levi in their 2 relationship. But honestly, to be fair, no, the way that Levi just kicked Eren as soon as he came on the ship and like remarked, just as easy to kick as ever, ha ha ha. But then you see as the conversation goes on, Levi goes from angry to looking in Eren's eyes and actually relating to him, and whilst not agreeing with what he's done, sympathising with him. And I think that goes a long way to show Eren and Levi's relationship and how far they've come, that Levi, as much as he does very much disagree with Eren's plan and what he wants to do at the moment, he can sympathise, he can see those eyes and see a man who had no choice but to do what he needed to do to survive, which is something Levi can very much relate to, given his past. Yeah, so their dynamic was perfect as always, just great. And the bit where Eren literally, he had one of his cracks in his facade. Obviously, he's got this new cool, calm demeanour, and then it's just when he's in his Titan form, he goes a bit berserk, which is obviously what the Titan's meant to represent anyway, but I'll get to that in a bit. He had his full-on mental break when he found out that Sasha's last words were meat, because he started laughing, and some people I watched reactions misinterpreted that as him finding it funny. No, I'm like, that is like the Joker, like he's laughing in a mental breakdown, and it's laughing through the tears almost and the pain. It's a full-on mental breakdown you're watching there, and it's really, really tragic and heartfelt and really horrible to see. But then sort of moving swiftly on to episode 9, the one that came out yesterday as recording this, so it would have been on the Sunday. That was fucking incredible, wasn't it? Like, I love episodes like that where it's not very action heavy, but it builds the world and builds the characters, but you're still hooked. Like, it explained how the scouts and the people of Paradis have upgraded their technology so much, and because before, a lazy writer would just leave you to think, oh well, they've upgraded it somehow and move along. This one explains that no, they used the tech from Marley and the people that they gained as supporters on their side because of Zeke from Marley, and then upgraded their tech, had better weapons and stuff, still obviously using the ODM gear, because why wouldn't you? And I really liked that touch, showing that Elena was an interesting character. I don't know why you'd worship Zeke, but you do. That's great. She was interesting, and I did enjoy that dynamic as well. Nicholas, was that his name? Nicholas. He was, for a character that I only met that episode, I felt really sorry for him at Sasha's funeral. That was heartbreaking. And then when he offers to cook the Sasha's family food, because obviously she was the biggest fan of his food, he was like, look, I know I'm only a Malian prisoner here, but I would love to cook you food. And when the dad says on the house, right, and shakes his hand, sort of makes a joke of it, it shows that Nicholas has been accepted into Paradis society in a way, and respect for him, and he clearly had some sort of relationship or bond with Sasha. But the most gut-wrenching thing was, oh my god, Connie and John at Sasha's funeral. That broke me, like seeing the fact that them coming to grips with the fact that their little trio is gone, and then Connie, of all people, who he even said himself, Sasha was like his twin. They were joined at the hip, they were partners in crime. He did love her like a sister, and seeing him at her grave just breaking down because she's gone was, honestly, it had me in tears. I couldn't handle it. It was like, oh god, no, please stop, like I can't. It was so real and so raw, and oh no, that was a real heartbreaking moment. And once again, kudos to writers, animators, voice actors. You shouldn't be able to break me like this, but you do. But yeah, the most interesting thing is that, okay, so now Connie and Sasha are no longer a duo. At least I've got a new favourite duo to replace it, and it's a very unlikely duo because they hate each other, and that's what I love about it. Zeke and Levi is just amazing. Even though I'm fully aware Zeke is probably going to betray or try to get away from Levi because it's Zeke and he's very underhanded. Their relationship is so funny because they both hate each other so much, and you can tell Levi's just like an angry babysitter at this point. And honestly, every time he throws an insult Zeke's way, like the one where it's like, oh look, I brought you to the trees because you're an ape and a beast and an animal, and haha, or every time he just threatens to kill him, you can see that as tough as and confident as Zeke is trying to act, he's shitting himself because he knows full well Levi can and will do it. And honestly, I just really want to. Oh, I wish I could have seen the conversation where Hunji had to explain to Levi that was his job. And actually, I was speaking to Pharaoh earlier about this, and I sort of wrote out my own reenactment of the scene, what I think it would have gone like. You know what, I'm actually going to read it out to you because I think it's absolutely fucking priceless. Give me one sec. So this is basically a dialogue that I wrote between Levi and Hanji as a way to sort of justify what's going on between them. So it starts off with Levi and then moves into Hanji, and we'll just see how it goes. Why me? Can't it be anyone else? You're the only one strong enough to take him down with ease, and you know that. Come on, it must be someone else. Mikasa, Armin, the guy literally makes a nuke when he transforms. Can they not do it? No, Levi, it has to be you. Please, anyone else. I'll kill him. I mean, Levi, that's kind of the point. No, I'll kill him before I'm meant to. Levi. Hanji. Levi, just go. Fine. I'll make him clean though. Irving wouldn't have made me do this, you know. Yes, he would have, and you would have threatened to break his legs for doing it in the process. So, quite frankly, Levi, this is character progress. Fine, just shut up. And that is how I feel the conversation between Hanji and Zeke would have gone as they tried to, not Hanji and Zeke, Hanji and Levi went, as Hanji told Levi he had to babysit Zeke, which it just makes I just feel happy hearing it because Levi hates Zeke, and that's fine. We all hate Zeke. I have no doubt he's going to betray the scouts to try and get Eren to do some other sort of plan. And bear in mind, I know where Eren's plan is going. I've got a feeling Eren's going to stab him in the back too. So good on Eren. But yeah, the new dynamic between Levi and Zeke is quite funny, and I just love the fact that Levi can keep threatening him and Zeke can do fucking all. Also, sorry, why is Gabby still alive? The fact that I saw her still alive, I'm like, look, I know you guys are meant to be the morally good guys, but could Levi not have just stabbed her by this point? I don't know. I get their kids, but like, they've done what I don't. I don't know. Maybe child cruelty isn't the way forward, but yeah, the last 2 episodes are a lot to process. There's always a lot to fucking process with this show. Even there was the scenes in the most recent one where you see Eren and Mikasa sort of processing. Armin is the main one there. I feel like him processing everything that's going on, and the flashbacks to 3 years ago. By the way, where Eren was like, I was trying to protect Historia. Honestly, if he survives and they don't get together, I'm going to be so upset because those two just match and it works. Anyway, yeah, Armin in the 3 years ago when Eren basically reveals his plan for the rumbling, you can see that everyone's like, look, I can see where you're coming from and we kind of agree, but we really don't. And it's like tearing Mikasa, Armin, Levi, it's tearing them all apart because they see where Eren's coming from and they see that really Eren doesn't have a choice, but at the same time, they don't want to do this. They don't want to be the cause of a genocide, and seeing that duality in them and seeing them being torn apart time after time, it's really quite devastating, and it's horrible to watch as a viewer, knowing how much you care about these characters. I say Armin being torn apart by it, and then Eren because he's being torn apart as well, but as I say, you don't really see it. He doesn't let the guard down or the facade down, but then you just look at that, the moment where he finds out about Sasha's last words and he breaks, he snaps, he's gone. That is Eren Jaeger just gone in that moment. He snaps, and you can see that he is struggling too, but for most of the time he's so focused on the goal that he keeps moving forward. He doesn't have the luxury of looking back, because if he does, he will break, he will fall under the weight of everything that's going on. But he chooses not to. He chooses to keep looking forward, keep moving forward, ignoring everything else, because nothing else matters in that regard. It's all about achieving his goal of freedom, and watching him do that, but as it slowly breaks him, because he has to hold it all in, he has to hide all these emotions, all this pain, just to let it happen. And that's what we're going to get onto in a bit, when I think I'm going to do a bit more of a dissection of Eren Jaeger's character. But before I get onto that, I will go on to the sponsor, which as always is Schmerp, who does brilliant commissions. You can find him on King's Eyes Life. You can go to the commissions page and get great graphic designs by a great guy for, reasonable commission prices, very good commission prices in fact, and get top quality work. He's great to work with and will cater to all of your commission needs, so please do go check him out there. He really is great, and the work is fantastic. And while we are plugging, let's do the social medias. You can follow this particular show on Twitter, which is at YouHaveFailedSV, where you get updates on episodes, what episodes are going out, when they're going out, which is every Tuesday at 8 PM UK time. Don't know where it is for you lot. You can work that out. I'm not listing every single fucking time zone. Yep, you can follow it there. You get updates on the show. You can follow my personal Twitter page, which is at Vader Saiyan, where you get random tweets from me. A lot about Attack on Titan at the moment. Normally chatting with a few people on Twitter as well about random things. Apex, you know it. I do it. It's to follow me there. Also, the pinned tweet on the Twitter though is the link to my Discord server, where we can discuss Attack on Titan to all of our heart's consents, or Yu-Gi-Oh, or Chaotic, or Star Wars, or Transformers, or Harry Potter, or I don't know, My Little Pony if you want. I've never watched it, but we can talk about it. I'm sure those horses are pretty cool. Ponies, sorry. Honestly, if you want to talk about any fandom, you can talk about it there, and you can suggest new ideas for episodes of podcasts for me. but obviously they will be backlogging a bit for after Attack on Titan. But when Attack on Titan finishes, I will need something that fails. So please, you can suggest me really shit things to watch, or pretend to watch, and then just look up reviews if it's that bad that I don't want to sit through more of it. So I can have more failure content for all of you. But thank you once again so much for the support. It really does mean a lot. And without further ado, Eren Jaeger. The man I could dissect on a psychological level, not literally. I love him, and when he dies I'll be processing that for fucking ever. Never gonna get over it. I could literally talk about him for hours, and something I sort of realised today watching the new episode, watching the way he held everything in, is that Eren Jaeger is pretty much the living embodiment of repression, human repression, you know, caused by society. He was brought up in a world where he was constantly repressed, told that this is what life is, you're stuck here, this, that, the other. You know, the walls are physical reminders of where he was and the mental state he was stuck in a world where all the other adults are happy to be complacent, just living the way they are, as sheep, as cattle, as livestock, not really doing or achieving anything, just going by the motions. He always knew there was more. He had this thirst to go outside the walls. There was this hunger that he knew he was entitled to more, that there was more out there. But society told him no, told him your curiosity is bad. They lied to him, they hid from him, and all the adults around him fell for the lie, but he wouldn't. But because he was repressed his whole life, that repression then was released in a massive surge of anger. And that anger is embodied by the Titan. You know, as he becomes the Attack Titan, it's basically the embodiment of his rage, which is something you see in Season 4. As Eren Jaeger, he's cool, calm, collected. He's quite a strategist now. He's very clever, very wise. But as soon as he still becomes the Attack Titan, he's still a violent monster. And that is because that is the only time he can truly vent himself and stop being repressed, is as a Titan. And in that respect, is Eren Jaeger a meta commentary on human society and the human mindset, because obviously, as we know, Attack on Titan is very much a commentary on war anyway. But is it a commentary on more than that? You look at Eren Jaeger, he was brought up in this society with walls around him, being told that the basic animals outside were the enemy and this, that and the other. But then one day he wakes up and he has the ability to become one of those enemies. Now, is this the equivalent of society telling us that, you know, any bad thoughts we have, any negative feelings or emotions we have are evil, we should forget about them? Is this the equivalent of, you know, a preacher or a teacher or a parent telling you that you're not allowed to have these negative thoughts and feelings, when in reality suppressing them leads to them coming out in a much more aggressive way? In Eren's case, he became the embodiment of humanity's rage, which now is boiling over to a point where he's planning on committing a genocide. Now, does this say something about human society? You know, should we tell kids that, you know, having a bad thought or a bad day is a bad thing? Should we accept that there's darkness or evil inside every single one of us? Everyone alive has the capacity for evil just as much as they have the capacity for good. Now, I'm not saying don't bring people up, obviously, on good values, but also don't ignore the fact that there is a devil on our shoulder. There is influence from dark forces, or, you know, whatever you believe. I don't want to impeach on anyone's beliefs, and I'm not going to cover obviously every religion or every spiritualistic aspect, but it'd be foolish to ignore that there's darkness inside every single human being alive on this planet. Every single one of us has had a bad thought, like, oh, I don't know, you know, oh, I could push this person here, or I could do this here, I could do that there, I could cheat here, I could, you know, we've all had these dark thoughts and inclinations, and society tries to suppress us and make us these perfect robots of ways we should live, you know, completely negating our animal instincts. And weirdly enough, as I was coming to these conclusions, I found a YouTube video who had a similar idea, and this is where it really elevated my idea of human repression forward, when he spoke about science and things, and the humans have this part that's called a reptile brain, because obviously we're apes. The reptile brain is basically the part of our brain that is animalistic. nature, back to basics. And weirdly enough, this part of our brain is located where sort of the brainstalk and the neck sort of meet, and the back, and where is that on a human? That's the nape of the neck. What is the weakness of a Titan? It's the nape. Now, in that regard, Titans are like the animals. They're natural, they're basic. A Titan's existence is only to roam around and well, consume humans. It's basic instinct, whereas humans are civilized, they live inside the walls, they're doing this, that, and the other. But Eren accepts that eventually he is part animal too, and only in doing that could he then move forward. Society still repressed him, and he moved forward in a very genocidal way, mind you, but it was only through accepting the darkness and the animal within him, and sort of rejecting society in a certain way. Because when they found out he was a Titan, society tried to slam him down straight away. No, you can't do that, we need to get rid of you, you're a sign of evil, blah 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 blah. And that says a lot about society, and the fact that if you're different, you won't be accepted if you express views that aren't coherent with society. A society that was constructed by who? In Attack on Titan's case, it's the elite who want to keep the truth hidden about the Titans and animal instincts. Is that the same of real human society? Have we been constructed in a way that we're suppressed, we're kept secret, we're kept where we want to be and not thinking the way they want us to think? And I only say this now because these are thoughts, this is going to make me sound really bad, I've had since I was a child. I've always, basically, since I was a child, I've been an Eren Jaeger. No word of a lie, there is no single character in fiction I relate to more than I ever have done Eren Jaeger. I think that's why I've fallen for him the way that I have. He reminds me so much of myself. Always questioning life, always questioning why, this, that, and the other, always wanting more, never really being happy with the way life was constructed around me. And you'd always be told, no, you can't do this, you can't like that, you can't. And yeah, it pissed me off, and I'm pretty sure there was a point in time where I would have happily, just gone, no, wipe them out, get rid of humanity, we're a plague, we're bad, we're this, that, and the other. I've got to a point now where I think people have talked that opinion out of me a bit more, and realising that, yeah, it's wrong. It's killing people is morally wrong. I think people appealed to my moral conscience, but at the same time, you can't blame Eren for the situation he's in, and I really relate to the fact that he's been brought up in a world where he's been told what to think, told what to feel, told how to live. And to be fair, with current world events, I think people are starting to wake up to the truth, but Eren is an example of the truth, of the fact that civilization is both a blessing and a curse. Yes, it's beautiful, it gives you opportunity, you don't have to be scavenging and hunting, wandering around without shelter or anything. But at the same time, it forces you into a box where you have to follow rules and regulations. And yeah, some rules are good, no murder, don't steal, this, that, and the other. And you're always going to have the people that give in too much to their dark side and commit what we now know as crimes. But at the same time, that will always be a part of us, is this animalistic, natural state of being. This dark side that questions, and people don't like questions these days, and that's what Eren Jaeger was. He was questions that people don't like, to the point where they tried to silence him and the other scouts. Once he got inside their heads and made them realise, the government tried to silence them because they were no longer, they were dangerous because they were asking all the right questions at all the wrong times. And that's incredible writing, and Eren Jaeger is humanity's repression and dark side and everything. He is the innermost reflection of what it means to be human, in a world where you're suppressed and forced into a box by society. And maybe that's something we should all take into our current lives. I'm not saying go and turn into a Titan and kill everyone, but I am saying that because I've learned since I've grown up from being a child that Death Stars aren't real, and blowing up planets and killing everyone are bad. I grew up and people taught me that that was a bad thing, and I agree with them. It is, but it doesn't shake the pain and the feelings that I know I had and the anger that I felt towards the fact that I still don't feel like I'm living the right way. Some things are still missing, things are changing, things are moving, but the frustration is unreal. And Eren Jaeger represents that. And once again, that's why I've fallen in love with his character, because for the first time ever, I found a character I can relate to. He's not just a hero who's like, yeah, I'm all these life-changing things, I'm gonna shoulder it and be awesome. And he's not quite the basic level of, oh, all these terrible things are happening, I'm going to become evil and brooding. He's human, he reacts in a normal way. He doesn't always get stronger because of tragedy. Sometimes it tears him the fuck down. And he just has to keep fighting anyway, because that's who he is. That's who Eren Jaeger is. And he's incredible, and I feel like we should learn from him. Yes, once again, I'm not saying, become completely evil, but maybe we should all, to keep this relevant to Attack on Titan, accept that all of us have the ability to become a Titan. That's what humanity is. All Titans are just humans who have obviously been forcibly turned into Titans, but if you think about the symbolism of that, that's just people who have just fully taken animalistic form, natural form. And we should all accept that we have the capacity to become Titans, and we should learn to live with and work with said Titan to become the best, the most optimal version of ourselves. Don't completely give into society and its restraints, but also don't give in entirely, but don't go completely the other way and just destroy everything and be evil. Accept yin and yang, the balance. You can't have darkness without light. A lot of philosophers have said that, I cast a shadow, therefore, I'm not complete without the darkness and stuff like this. You can't have dark without light, and you can't have light without dark. The two wouldn't exist without each other, and people need to accept that. People need to accept that there's darkness within all of us. Those who preach that you must be pure and holy, no, that's not right. And anyone goes, oh, that's what Jesus did. I'm like, well, yeah, but if that's what you believe and what you believe in, that's fine. That's great. I'm not going to impeach my views on anyone. I'm not going to say what I believe regarding any of these topics per se, like religious or spiritual or otherwise. But if that's what you believe, you also need to remember that Jesus was the Son of God. He was actually God as a man. Of course he was going to be perfect. And even then, you can make the very logical argument that he was an alcoholic. So is he perfect? Of course he's not. He's human. He was God made human. He had flaws. He made mistakes. And he could be almost tempted by the devil. He wasn't perfect. But at the same time, I think idolizing a man that is perfect is wrong. This is why I hate Superman. He's just, fuck off, have a flaw and then come back to me, right? I think real idols are people like Eren Jaeger. Maybe not where he's heading as much, but then again, we're not put in as extreme a situation as Eren is. Thank fuck. Thank God we're not in that world and put into his situation, because it must be awful. And as I've said before, he hates what he has to do, but it's just the way the world is for him. It's the way the world has formed itself around him. And you feel bad for him. But he's the kind of person you should look up to. Most people in Attack on Titan, there's not one character in Attack on Titan who isn't real, doesn't react in real ways, and you could look up to any of them. If you want to be a great leader, look up to Commander Irvin. If you want to be, a great cleaner, look up to Captain Levi. If you want to be a good friend, look up to Sasha. Jesus Christ, I'm going to miss her so much. If you want to be, a good scientist, look up to Hanji. It's Attack on Titan, I think, have real heroes. Not heroes in the fact of, yeah, they're morally right, they're doing everything right, they're, good old-fashioned American heroes. I say American because most heroes are American. But they are what should be considered real life heroes. They are real people, more so than celebrities are, because obviously celebrities still put on an act, they put on a persona. That's not who they really are for the most part. You know, these people are real whilst also showing everything going on and telling a fantastic story. These are people I think we should aspire to be like. And, you know, we could all do with being a bit more Commander Irvin. We could all do with being a bit more Eren Jaeger. The world needs more people like that. Yes, they're good in certain situations. Irvin would only be useful in a motivational situation, you know, as a leader. And Eren would only be useful... Okay, don't necessarily become an Eren. Trust me, it's not. From experience, you don't want to live like that. But the basis of his mindset, the bare bones of it, I think there's something that can be taken away from that. Taken away from Eren Jaeger. And who he is at his core. You know, a good person, his heart, but accepts the animal, accepts the bad side, the evil within him to make one full person, one very well-rounded person. But he's just proof of what happens when society then keeps suppressing you anyway, and you boil over, and him boiling over is going to destroy the world. But then if you look at it, obviously the walls being a representation of society, just trapping him. Because in life, we're all trapped by walls, whether it's mental ones we put up ourselves or the walls society puts up around us in the way that we should live our lives. But Eren's taking that metaphor, and the rumbling, as much as it's a genocide, the rumbling is in essence him taking down those walls. Because to commit the rumbling, he's got to release the colossal titans from inside the walls, which means the walls are going to crumble. The walls of his world that have constricted him his whole life, he is finally breaking down. He is breaking those walls. For the first time in his whole life, he can see freedom on the horizon because he has broken down his walls. And whilst hopefully in real life breaking down your walls does not lead to the deaths of millions of people, in life I feel like we should all break down our walls and take a step into the right direction. Don't be constrained by being told what you're meant to do, what you're meant to look like, what you're meant to sound like, what you're meant to be interested in. You know, and that's just on a base level of materialistic, I suppose. Even on a higher level of just the way you're supposed to live your life. Don't settle for what you're being told your lot in life is. Aim higher, think bigger. Eren Jaeger always clung to his dream of freedom, and he is going to break down his walls to try and achieve it. Yes, he's doing it in the wrong way, but on a base level, that's what he's doing, and you can do that too. If you want to be someone you're not at the moment because you've been told you can't be, break down those walls and be who you are. If you want to like a certain type of music but people tell you, oh, it's not cool, you can't like it, break down those walls, tell them to go fuck themselves, embrace your inner titan, embrace the person you really are, the light, the dark, the animal, and who you are, and go and achieve it. That is what Eren Jaeger represents on so many levels, and he represents a lot. I've said a lot about him and what he represents: anger, rage, repression, hope, freedom. He represents all of these things, and at his heart, I think the conclusion of what Eren really represents is the human condition. He represents everything it means to be human in every way possible. On a base level, obviously, when you get into characteristics, it's a bit different, and not a lot of people, I suppose, are going to relate to him in that way. Not the way I do. I relate to him in a very specific kind of way, from a part in my life that I was very down, you know, and I'm not going to go into that quite yet and give you my life story, and, you know, not best times in my life and whatever. Yeah, sorry, I sidetracked trying to think about myself then. So obviously I relate to her in a very specific way from a very dark time and dark thoughts and things in my life, but everyone in a way has a part of Eren Jaeger in them, because he is part of the human condition, and in a way I think anyone can relate to him if they think about it on a slightest level, and that is good character writing, and that is just beautiful storytelling, and honestly, I mean, he's a brilliant character anyway, but the fact that I see myself in him so much, and I could be him so much, so easily could be him. If I didn't have, it's not even like he didn't have the friends, but he was put into a real tough situation. But I know full well if I didn't have the friends I did, I would have ended up on a very dark path like he did. But fortunately I didn't. I managed to save. Well, I didn't save myself. I had people save me, I suppose. And let's hope that Eren's friends can pull through and save him. Save him from himself at this point. But yeah, he's incredible, and so is Attack on Titan. But I need to fail something. So Gabby, fuck off. You failed. And Attack on Titan, you haven't failed. Eren Jaeger, I can't get enough of you. Attack on Titan, Eren Jaeger, you have not failed in any way. Eren Jaeger, you are the most brilliant human being in the world. I'm not saying that because you like me. That sounds really self-centered, but you really are, and I owe a lot to Eren Jaeger. He's made me realise a lot about myself, and I wouldn't be having these self-reflections on myself if I hadn't seen this all take place from the third person. Obviously, when I lived it and I was in the situation, you don't see it from the outside, but seeing it as I'm watching Eren has really helped me reflect and see things from another perspective, and it's really helped me, I think, process a lot of what I think and feel less. I don't know. I don't know. That's not the point. But no, you have not failed at all, and neither of any of you guys. Once again, thank you so much for the 2,000 listens. It really does mean so much to me. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy the Attack on Titan fan fest that is coming your way. Yeah, thank you so much for listening. I'll speak to you next week, guys.